To my beautiful and amazing royals of Africa, thank you for coming back and watch more videos and learning more wisdom from our people. So welcome back to Nubia, the path to return. So as I was telling you, I have a very important message today. It's another jewel piece of our wisdom when it comes to teaching our people, okay? So I would like you to know a very important piece of our training with our elders. Our elders teach us that only a fool set his own house on fire with him in it. So what does it mean? It is foolish for one to set his own house on fire with himself in it. All right? So I told you I like to touch on very sensitive issues, okay? Because as a crown queen, I can go there. All right? We queens have license to roast people. Only queens can go to places that even kings cannot follow. Because queens, we have that license. All right. So our elders teach us that it's very foolish to set your own house on fire. And it's double the foolishness when you yourself you are in it. So let me first break it down and explain to you. According to our people, what is considered your house? Your house is your dwelling place, whether the place you live in, whether the place you work out, whether the place in your community. People you are bound to see every day, become part of your house. Because whether you like it or not, you still have ties with that place. And when you set it up on fire with you, yourself, and it is, you're going to be the first casualty. So that's why our elders teach us that it's very foolish for one to set his own house on fire with him in it. Now let me bring it back to us. So as you could see, NATO, the Western Bloc, they went around Russia and went and poked the bear, right? They thought that Russia was, the African nations, they willfully and readily, they go and try their new toys, their new weapons, and drop bombs and do all these things, the no-fly zone. Yeah, of course, they could do a no-fly zone in Libya, or they could respect the fly or no-fly zone in Libya, but not in Ukraine. All right. For those of you who are wondering what I think and stuff, I'm the wrong person to ask. Because what I have to say is not what most people, especially in America, want to hear. But as the crown queen of my people, I must tell them the truth. We never had a problem with Russia. When the Europeans gathered and decided to form a brotherhood, Italian, French, British, Spain, Portuguese, Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, these jokers, they form an alliance. Then they came to us as the white, the European. They form a brotherhood that they can't even verify through blood. These countries are just named. Who are them today? NATO. Those who are still out there wondering what happened to us. So even when they gathered to come and attack Africa, murder our kings and make of us what they wish. Russia didn't take part, refuse. In the contrary, they oppose. They told the Pope that he was wrong, because the Pope from the Catholic Church told the world that we didn't have a soul. They opposed to it. They say it wasn't true. That's the reason why you won't find any of us out there with a Russian surname. Only through the means of marriage. I heard that there's stories of some Russian, some African slaves that were brought to Russia through the Ottoman Empire and stuff. But we also know that they were very high up there with the royals. So I don't know, a lot of people go around talking a lot of rubbish. But based on what our elders teach us, and even my own grandfather, he told us exactly who showed up on our shores. We know those who showed up on our shores, and none of them were Russians. Our people say, never raise your hand against he who she who has done you no wrong. For doing so will bear severe curses on you and your entire lineage. I know, Russia is now perceived as that monster, but I can tell you, they've always come and helped when our people call them. Post-colonial and everything, these people didn't give us real independence. The so-called independence was they put puppet president there who give them perpetual access to 75 to 80% of our natural resources. After having crippled Africa the way they did, took about 12 million children away from us, murdered around 20 on the continent. They made of us what they did. Russia was nowhere near. Okay? So to the children of Africa out there, refrain from going publicly condemning Russia. The people of Russia owe us nothing. The contrary of it is true. Each time some of our country called for help, they came and helped. They helped many countries achieve independence. They helped Ethiopia stay independent. And more recently, even Ghana, that is recently now celebrating an independence. Who helped Nkrumah achieve that independence? Their presence alone around Nkrumah put pressure on Britain to let go of Ghana to achieve independence. It's always us. We are so confused and we tend to forget too soon those who have helped us. That's how people like the current president of Ghana could go publicly and condemn Russia on the war in Ukraine, knowing very well what that war is all about. So basically what's going on between Russia and Ukraine is the continuation of the war our ancestors lost. It's the war of good versus evil, light versus darkness, the kingdom of the people of God versus the kingdom of the people of Satan. That's what that war is about. Our ancestors lost that war. And what did they do? They took over Africa. They are still occupying Africa. And the children of our kings and queens are there today slaves. Okay? So as they wanted to spread white supremacy, they came up with democracy. The democracy, they're big on democracy because democracy gives them rulership over the world. They don't even need to leave their houses these days. So from their country, they rule our countries. They put in place puppets who serve their agenda, who give them access to the natural resources while the population live in complete poverty. The war of Russia on Ukraine is just not a war that we the African don't know what it means. It's a war for people who want to preserve, protect their unique identity, their unique culture, their unique values, their unique morals, their unique languages, their unique humanity. And as you know, Russians and us have something in common. We both suffered slavery, but unlike us, they rose from it. And they are more than ever determined to never let that happen again. We know that in the past, they helped the Ethiopian defeat the Italians. Who do you think was helping Ethiopia stand up against Italy? It was them. They were providing them with military aid and military, advice and everything, guidance and support. Anything they could do for them, they showed up. In Angola, they helped. South Africa, they helped. Mozambique, Zimbabwe, all these people, all these places, they helped. And I don't recall them, establishing a colony in Africa. I don't recall them, forcing their political view on anybody engaging into business with them. So, as I previously said, you cannot learn about a group of people from the mouth of their worst enemies. It won't work. I don't want any of our kids to get out there and just repeat the nonsense they hear the mainstream media repeating against Russia. It would be embarrassing because many of our country owe their independence to Russia because they backed them. Okay? So as you could see, the US and NATO, they thought it was a good idea to slap sanctions, vicious sanctions on Russia because, they were so mad. Russia did what Russia said it would do. I know they don't know how to handle the Russians. They're a different breed. They're not used to deal with men who mean what they say and actually do what they said they would do. They don't know what to do with it. So they got on the sanction. They thought that crippling Russia with sanction would do. But what they forgot is that they have strong economical ties with Russia. So crippling Russia will cripple themselves. So they thought that setting the house of Russia on fire, they will have the upper hand over them. But they quickly realized that as soon as they set the house of Russia on fire, they started feeling the heat all the way to France, all the way to London, all the way to Germany, all the way to Spain, all the way to America, etc., etc. These people are not wise at all. And that's the culture they want to force on everybody. A culture of bullyism. They get so vindicative that they forget that they tie to the person they're trying to destroy. Therefore, destroying the person will mean destroying themselves. Now, they are forced to swallow their pride and crawl back to Venezuela. Please sell us your oil. Not long ago, they crippled Venezuela with sanctions, the same thing they're doing to Russia now. Starve their population and cause Venezuela to lose millions of their children who had to flee. Many of them will never come back to their homeland because it's just part of human nature. When you go somewhere, you settle and you get comfortable, you don't think of going back. It costs us to lose people. So now what? Now they're feeling the heat. That's why our elders teach us that it's foolish to set the house on fire while you depend, while that same house is your shelter. So I don't really know what they thought. I don't really know what they expect going to, surround Russia the way they did, drop their weapons in their background, all that intimidation tactic they do. I don't know what they expect. They thought Russia was like Africa. They come in and out and come and drop the bombs. They have murdered all our lions. But they soon realized that the house of Russia still got lions. There's still lions in that jungle. And now the Russian lions are roaring. Oh, they're shaking. They're ready to cripple them. If any of you out there is wondering where I, your queen, stand and where we should stand as a people, not because I necessarily say that Russians are the best people. No, we all have our flaws. But I never heard of them mistreating or mishandling any of our people they engage into trade or security agreement with. They're very loyal. I never heard them hanging their former partners. The things I have to say are not the things many of you want to hear. I never heard them take over somebody's land because they allow them to come and have security agreement with them or execute a security agreement or entered into a business trade with them. I never heard that they went into a country, destroyed it out of mere hatred and jealousy for their people. I never heard of such thing. So the war that is going on is the war of good versus evil, point blank. The people of God versus the people of Satan. When the Creator created us, He created us with such diversity. Diversity in races, diversity in culture, diversity in languages, diversity in spirituality, diversity in everything. Even the animals, diversity in the different breeds of the same animals, of the same species. This is how mighty our God is. So some jokers, a handful of jokers, the Western European thought, since Tatan Zambe didn't give them all this thing he gave to the other group of people, multitude of languages, of just rich land, rich everything, beauty, strong culture. Since they don't have that, they went on a rampage of destroying that which the other people have, so we could, live in a McDonaldized world. As if all of us want to eat French fries and hamburgers. That is not the diet of everybody. So as you could see, since Russia took the stand, they've been their enemies ever since. So now that the Russian lions are roaring, now they're shaking. Oh, we can reply. Yeah, because that's what bully do. Bully never fight people who can fight back. Bully is what they did to our ancestors. Our ancestors didn't have firearms. The Indians here in Northern America didn't have firearms, but it didn't stop them from just wiping people out like that. That's the kind of fights they love. So if anybody tell me the question shouldn't be asked, our support, our best wishes and prayers are with the people of Russia, the resilient Russian people. The God of our ancestors and the God of your ancestors is with you. That's all we know. Because they're fighting the fight of the righteous. Those who respect Tatanzambe creation as he created it. He wasn't a fool to make us different races. He wasn't a fool to give us different culture. In that diversity, we are expected to live all at peace and as one. And I'm glad his rulership is coming back. Okay? So don't go out there repeating what our former masters are forcing down people's throat. Our generation, we are the generation who has access to information and therefore cannot be manipulated or doomed. Okay? So, in case some of you were wondering what I think, until next time.